Design a 100 microamp current source given that I1, or In, equals 1 milliamp. So right off the bat, we can tell that this current source is a Widlar current source, spelled like this. And based on this type of circuit, I2, or I out, along the entire right side was given to be 100 microamps, while everything on the left, or I in, was given to be 1 milliamp. And one thing you should keep note of when making this type of circuit is that I2 can never be larger than I1. It can only be equal or less than. Otherwise, RE would just be shorted. And if you try to make it any bigger, you'll get a negative resistance for RE, but we'll see later in a minute. So the first thing we can do is get RE into an equation, since that's the ultimate goal we're trying to find. So one way we can find RE is by taking a KVL of this loop here. And we need to see that there are two voltage drops across T1 and T2, and we'll call them VBE1 and VBE2. Since, as you know, this is the base and this is the emitter of T1, and this is the base and emitter of T2. So there has to be some sort of voltage drop across this BJT, otherwise it wouldn't work. So keeping all this in mind, let's make this equation. Starting from this node here, negative VBE1 plus VBE2 plus RE times the current going through it, which we know is I2, equals 0. Since this is the same potential here, we don't have to worry about VEE. And let's try to reorder this to isolate RE. So RE I2 equals positive VBE1, since we're flipping on the other side, minus VBE2. And before we divide by I2, let's just call this equation 1. The problem is, we do know what I2 is, but we don't know what either VBE1 nor VBE2 is. However, we do know that based on our normal BJT equation that is provided in most formula sheets, IC, or collector current, equals IS, which is the saturation current, times E to the VBE over VT. So you can see that this equation can definitely take a role in getting rid of some extra variables. So the ultimate goal now is to isolate VBE from this equation here. We can do that by first dividing by IS. So now E to the power of VBE over VT equals IC over IS. And to get rid of the E term, take the natural log of it, which you have to do on both sides of the equation, which will give you a resulting form of VBE over VT equals ln IC over IS. Simply multiplying both sides by VT, you get our second equation, VBE equals VT, or thermal voltage, ln IC over IS. So, plugging equation 2 into equation 1, we can call this VBE1 and VBE2, plugging into these two variables here. So, RE I2 equals VT ln I1 over IS. Since I1 is the current going through the collector of either T1 or T2, so we can just change that to I1, minus VT ln I2 over IS. Factoring out VT, we can reorder this to make the natural log of I1 over IS over I2 over IS So we know that subtracting two logs from each other, you can take what's inside the first log and put that over what's inside the second log, as we did here. And we can simplify this a little further, since this is also just saying I1 over IS times the reciprocal of IS over I2. You can cancel the IS's, gives you I1 over I2. So that's actually what's inside this logarithm. Let's say that now. So now you can see that we do know all these other variables. We know that thermal voltage is 26 millivolts, I1 is 1 milliamp, and I2 is 100 microamps. So we have all we need now to solve for RE. Now let's isolate it. Finally, RE equals 26 millivolts, or 26 E negative 3 volts, times ln, I1, which is 1 milliamp, or 1 E negative 3 amps, over I2, or 100 microamps, which is 100 E negative 6 amps, all over I2 again, which is the same thing, 100 E negative 6 amps, gives you our final value for RE. And if you put that in a calculator, it will give you 598.72 ohms. So this is the resistance required to make I2 that much smaller than I1. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments below, and good luck.